Hello, and thank you for joining me on my research project demonstration. For my final year research project topic, I just investigate level design for 3D games. The purpose of this project was to 1. Research the topic of level design in 3D games, 2. Identify the aspects and core principles of good level design, and 3. Create a 3D game based on the research gathered that demonstrates the aspects and principles of good level design in 3D games. My name is Dylan Chan, the developer of this project. The technologies used for this project were 1. The Unity 3D game engine, more specifically Unity's high definition render pipeline, 2. Playmaker, which is a paid third-party software that allows the creation of games without code. This is done by using functional state machines. However, Playmaker scripts can be used in conjunction with C# scripts, which was what was done for this project. C#, which is a multi-paradigm, general-purpose, object-oriented programming language. 4. Visual Studios, which was the integrated development platform for this project. And finally, 5. Adobe Mixamo, which was used for the characters and animations of this project. Going into the main project now, we are greeted with the project main menu. The name of this project is Tirna Hogta, which is Irish for Land of Beauty. In the main menu, the player can find the Play, How to Play, and Quit button. Clicking on the Quit button will quit out the game. Clicking on the How to Play will display the controls for this game, and finally, clicking on Play will play the game. Loading into the main game scene, for level design purposes, the player was placed at the back of a narrow pathway. The purpose of this narrow pathway was to provide a good first impressions of the level for the player. This was done by sculpting, texturing, detailing, and adding color to the narrow pathway and the surrounding areas. The pathway was also sculpted using real-world references such as Glendalough Lake. Full scan assets were used for the clutter in and around the narrow pathway. To further enhance the clutter and textures, normal mapping techniques were used to add detail to the clutter and give the textures a 3D look. Particle effects were then added, such as the dust particle effect inside the narrow pathway and the leaf particle effect around the surrounding forested areas. Environmental effects were also added. These effects included a wind zone that provided realistic wind effects to the trees, bushes, and grass. To further enhance the environment, a sky and fog volume was added. Post-processing effects such as lift, gamma, and gain effects were used to enhance the visuals of the game. Moving on to player functionality, the player can activate the pause menu by pressing escape. In the pause menu, the player can resume, go back to the main menu, access and controls, or quit. The player can move with the WASD keys, and accompanying the WASD key movement are 3 animations: a idle animation, a walk animation, and a sprint animation. On the top right hand corner of the map is a mini-map that displays the location of the player. If the player chooses, the player can toggle between a first person and a third person camera by pressing B. We are now in the first person camera, and we can now toggle back into the third person camera. Moving up, we can find an NPC. There are 2 types of NPCs, humanoid and animal. The humanoid NPCs can be interacted with the button E. Pressing the button E activates a dialogue system that has multiple choice. We can choose our response by scrolling the mouse wheel. In this case, we scroll to see you soon, and select it with enter, and press E to exit out. In level design, it is always good to have multiple pathways for the player to explore. In this case, there is a pathway to the left and a pathway to the right. We'll take the pathway to the left. In level design, it's always good to break up your level into multiple different sections, so it's not just one continuous area. In this case, the level is broken up with a little village in the middle. The village was handcrafted using Unity's vertex snapping system. In the village, we can find 2 more NPCs to add more life to the village. Moving up to the door, a door animation will play that will open. Inside the house, we can find an interactable object in the case of a book. Moving up to the book will display a page. Unfortunately, due to project management and timing reasons, the page only displays with no text. However, this is a proof of concept. Moving back outside and moving close to these fires on the braziers, if we listen closely, we can hear the fire producing 3D audio. We can hear a crackling sound with the fire, and the further away we move from it, the less we'll be able to hear. With the sun setting and the moon rising, we can see the stars start to appear. This is a cube map that will fade in and fade out depending on the position of the moon. Moving on to the two celestial bodies that provide the light for this project are the moon, that is coming up now, and the sun. The moon and the sun uses volumetric lighting as well as real-time lighting. We can see shadowing effects that are moving at real time to the position of the moon and the sun. In this area, we can see a landmark. Landmarks are used to add unique locations to a level. They provide the level a story without actually using words. We can see here there's an altar that can be used by the NPCs for any reason. Moving back to the ground, we can see that the dust particle effects are intensified. This is due to the moon shining on the dust particle effects. To indicate where the player has to go, we can see that there are butterflies that are leading the player to a certain pathway. By following these butterflies, we can see that the player has to go to the back of the map. We can see here that there are a little more landmarks for unique locations. And the butterflies are leading us to the final portal. When we approach this final portal, we can see that this portal has a 3D audio effect of the portal humming. When we move closer and move into the portal, time slows and we are brought to the end scene. In the end scene, we can play again, go back to the main menu, or quit entirely out of the game back to the desktop. In this case, we'll go back to the main menu. We're back at the main menu, where we can choose our options again. With that, concludes this project demonstration. Thank you.